Hey, everybody. Welcome to Barbecue Nation. If you haven't heard from us for a couple of weeks, we've been doing some best of shows. I've been across the pond, and Leanne has been very busy. Um, that lady's got a busy schedule. That's the only thing I can tell you. Anyway, welcome to you to our studios here, the Turn It Don't Burn It studios. And we're welcoming back a dear friend, Graham Kerr, the Galloping Gourmet. He does a Christmas show with us every year. Now, I expect you to do this with us for the next 10 years, okay? I don't care that you are 91.
I'll be 101 then, and I'm not so sure that I will be quite as vigorous, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Oh, good. Looking forward to it.
As long as you're up for it, we're up for it.
Good, excellent.
So, anyway, we're going into Christmas, and when this show airs, will only be about 10 days from Christmas or so. And so Graham comes back every year and tells us some great Christmas stories. And we've got a few surprises for you today. But I'm gonna start the program this week with asking you a very simple question, Graham. What does Christmas mean to you?
Christmas means a dark period. And you, first of all, know that I'm an only child. I was raised in the hotel business in Europe. And that's a time when hoteliers are at their busiest. You know, the hotels are full and everybody is enjoying themselves, except the staff who are usually overworked. In my case, I remember no Christmas wrappings. I never received a gift that was wrapped. We didn't have a family Christmas tree. There was one in the hotel, but that was another issue. My parents were both very busy, and I retired to my room and listened to the radio. No television. So when I married, my wife Trina had got a problem with her father, who painted self-portraits and played Chabres España at full bore and locked himself in his studio. He was an artist for 2 days over Christmas, and then put his foot through the portrait that he made. So, and they were lucky if they got an orange as a present. So Trina wanted to remake Christmas, and she started buying in January gifts, and we would have 40, 50, 60 wrapped presents under a huge tree. And it was just, and everybody, the kids and I think Trina as well, didn't enjoy it. So we got to the stage, and this is a long thing, in which I actually disliked the word joy when it was blanketed on everything about Christmas time. So I did my praying as a brand new Christian and said, oh, I want to understand what joy means, because I don't understand it. And so I got an instant arrival in the nativity. And there's Mary holding Jesus. She looks up and doesn't ask me why I'm dressed like that, because I'm dressed as I am now. And she just hands the baby up to me and says, do you want to hold him? And I don't know about you, my friend, but I get this feeling when I'm holding babies that I'm going to drop them, you know.
I do.
as a male, you know, we have our problems, and so I get this little bundle, and I've got him in my arms, and I'm looking down, and all I could say to him was, "You came because you love me." And then I cried, and there were little tears falling down my face onto the baby. And I discovered joy.
Joy, that was it. That was it.
Such an amazing experience. I know it sounds a bit odd, but there we are. You asked me.
Yeah. No, I think that's fine.
Good answer.
Leanne, what's it mean to you?
Oh, well, of course, being with family, eating a lot.
Yeah.
Just a time to be thankful and yeah, just to be happy and
Yeah.
not work maybe.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Well, I think that's and I think I told you this before, but when we had the ranch and the Christmas Eve festivities were over, because we'd always have a Christmas Eve and then a dinner on Christmas Day. But when everybody was kind of tucked in on Christmas Eve, especially if it wasn't raining, which, as Graham can verify, it does happen here in the Pacific Northwest.
Mhm.
But when it was those cold and clear nights, I would walk out through the barn, kind of talk to the horses, and keep walking. And we had a creek. Was most people would call it a river, but I would
I'd
walk.
call it a creek.
Yeah, a creek, exactly.
Right.
But I would walk down the gravel road to the creek through the pastures, and I would just sit down there. We had a cabin down there, and I would sit down there on the table and just kind of absorb
Yeah.
everything.
Wonderful.
And that, because like you, there was a while there that Christmas was a bit traumatic for me. Um, and that changed, and I made it change. But I would sit down there and just soak all this in and be appreciative of everything we had, and the things I've been able to do in my life, and being most grateful for my family.
Yeah.
And I think that when I started doing that, and it was a little later in my life, it was I was probably in my 30s, late 30s, early 40s when I started doing that. That really made me kind of believe more in the Christmas spirit and what it was all about, and
Yes.
my own spirituality and the Christmas spirit and all that. So
Mhm.
I know it means different things to different people and all that,
Oh, yeah. Very
but
much.
but something about being out there when it's 35 degrees outside and the ground is crunchy, and and all you can see is the stars, and the horses are
Wow.
nickering quietly when you walk through the barn, and you can pet them and all that. And that really brought me back
Mm.
from
Lovely.
the abyss at one point. So yeah. Anyway, so we're here to talk about food, and as we normally do here on the nation. So this first segment, I was just going to ask both of you what your favorite Christmas dishes are. Now, Leanne, I know about the pie thing. Okay. So, but I want to talk about the main course here. What's your favorite main course?
Go ahead.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking me? Okay,
Yeah.
well, my favorite, well, we have it every year, so that's why it's my favorite. It's probably not my most favorite meal to eat, but I love a big old prime rib with
Yeah.
horseradish and popovers and all the good sides. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can dig that. Though I don't have to cook this year. I'm going to throw that in early here. I'm getting my knee replaced next week.
Oh,
And so it's fine. I'll have a matching set then. But and the recovery time is really pretty quick anymore. But they have banned me from the kitchen at Christmas this year. My daughter, my wife, and my friends are all going to do it. So I'm like, just give me the remote control. I'm good. I'm good.
it sounds like you set up the knee operation on purpose.
There could be some truth to that. But Graham, what's your favorite main course at Christmas?
Well, definitely lamb, and it would be a leg, and it would be from New Zealand, from the west coast of New Zealand specifically, where the Tasman Sea gales blow in and drop tons of salt water on the grass, and the lamb eat that grass, and it's called by the French pré salé, which is it's naturally salted from within with sea salt. And it's quite the most delicious lamb that you can buy anywhere in the world, in my judgment. Just beautifully handled and wonderful. So I would have that roasted and basted with apple juice and orange juice, both unsweetened. And that cohered with arrowroot into a sauce poured over the lamb when it's served. That's for me. Yeah, every
So
time.
see, there's that arrowroot again. You taught me that when I was 12 years old, the arrowroot stuff. So
Oh,
yeah, yeah. I think I told you first time I tried to use arrowroot was with cream potatoes and peas to thicken it up. And I got a little overzealous with the arrowroot, and it came out like spackle with green
yeah,
Oh,
spots in it. So,
oh.
yeah, but I was
yeah,
12. I mean, give me a break. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's where I learned how to use arrowroot was from you. So,
excellent.
yeah, it works out really good. I'm a prime rib guy. When I was a kid, we had turkey. My mom, bless her heart, was never very good at cooking turkeys or any fowl for that matter. It was very dry. Had to use a lot of gravy. Gravy was the saving grace of those
Yeah,
meals, like that.
saving grease.
Yes, exactly. But we always had that. And then when I got a little older and took over, we started doing the rib roasts and tried a lot of variations of them over the years, but really just have kind of come full circle back to a roasted rib roast. And I do the twice baked potatoes and the au jus and the horseradish and all the sides. And that's kind of my favorite. And I only serve that maybe once or twice a year, always at Christmas, but maybe one other time in the year do I make it. And we talk about it a lot, but I don't cook it a lot. So,
Well, I think it's a lot easier to source because of my preference, I love lamb. I would prefer lamb. But this year, Graham, what are you going to have for Christmas? Are you able to get your hands on that?
Yes, I am actually. I
Of
was
course you are.
an advisor to the New Zealand Land Board, and in the old days, and I've still retained excellent relationships with the nation. I call it the Switzerland of the Pacific. When it comes to food, I don't know anything that grows there, grows any better anywhere else in the world. Some parts of France and southern Italy can be competitive, but New Zealand, by and large, it's really set out there in the middle of the Pacific in such a pristine environment that it's just excellent.
yes.
So yeah, if I can order it ahead of time, I will.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. We're going to take a break. We're going to be back on The Nation with Graham Kerr and, of course, my co-conspirator, Leanne Whippen, right after this. Find the right button. Welcome back to Barbecue Nation. I'm JT, along with Hall of Famer Leanne Whippen, who is my sidekick and co-host. It's always a pleasure to have her. And one of my, if not my biggest culinary hero in the world, Graham Kerr, the Galloping Gourmet. Do you miss being called the Galloping Gourmet, or miss doing that?
Yeah.
There has to be parts of it you miss.
It's something I did. I did it with every ounce of energy that I had, and I did it. I thought it was undoable. I thought you cannot do 650 shows.
Right.
That's what I signed a contract to do, at 195 new shows a year, and all the research and all the travel and everything else. It was just it wasn't possible, but we did it. We did 500 of them before the accident, and so Galloping Gourmet is trotted off into the background. But people remember me for doing that. Remember the jumping over the chair and the jokes and the rest. I hated part of that because I thought nobody's going to believe me that I've done all of this research and the food is marvelous. It's just they're just watching for the jokes, and
Yeah.
and so that part I don't like, the sort of. But Oh dear, and my life has changed so much now, and I'm so excited to be able to be alive now and do what I do now and do why I do it. It's just gorgeous. Yeah. So
Did, and I'm sure I've asked you this, or Leanne has asked you this. Did you personally create all those recipes, or did you have help along the way?
there's two answers to that. I created about 20% of them, and 80% of them I did the research. For example, beef stroganoff.
Yeah.
I knew that that's a Russian dish, so we went to Moscow and we asked the Communist Party there whether they would find somebody making it really the way that it's supposed to be made. And then I would go and film that on location with those people and come back. And then I'd have to reconstruct their recipes so that it was able to be done worldwide, because we were in 138 countries. So it's a very complicated business
Yeah.
to develop. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that this is going to sound arrogant, but some recipes that you work on, if you're going to present them on television, I have found the simpler you make the recipe, the better for the
Yeah.
audience. And I'm not
Mhm.
questioning anybody's intellect, not at all. It's just you do that stuff in a very short period of time. And even if the recipe is now posted on websites or social media, they all to the things you add that are not on the paper, so to speak, the loving touches, if you will, you can only put so many of those in a 6-minute segment, so to speak, or that's what I found. And
Yes.
and I
Absolutely.
and I try to keep them more simplistic, if you will. And I found that that's worked because, and I think Leanne could probably verify this too, and I know you could, that when people maybe see you in the store or they email you or something and they say, "Hey, that recipe you did, that was really good. I did it last weekend for a cocktail party or what have you, and it was great. People loved it, you know." And I get great, here's that joy word again, Graham, for you, but I get great joy out of that. Did you have those similar experiences?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember once I did a gurnard, a fish dish in New Zealand, and I was having my hair cut by the barber, and he said, "Mate, I watched you making that gurnard the other day," and so I went home to Mum and I said, because I'd caught a gurnard and it just looked like the one you used, so I said, "Have you got any shrimp?" And she said, "No." So what you got? I've got some sardine paste. And so we've got any mushrooms? No, I've got some mushroom soup powder. So we mixed the mushroom soup powder up with the sardines and stuck it in the middle of the gurnard. And do you know, it tasted bloody awful.
Oh,
And, and I'm sitting there having my hair cut by this guy who's complaining, having completely mutilated this recipe and
Right.
blaming me for it. So, but no, I've had wonderful stories as well. So,
oh
yeah,
yeah. It's
but that
great.
one was memorable.
I
Yeah,
I
I
would think
bet.
so. I would think so. Um, I know Leanne does a lot of television there in Florida and stuff, and every once in a while we get a chance to commiserate a bit. We actually don't get to talk as much as people think we do, but she has some stories too about doing stuff on TV and then having people see you at Sam's Club or whatever and saying, "Yeah, I worked on that. It was good," or maybe it didn't work out so well for him.
It's
It's
just nice to know that people are actually trying the recipes. I mean,
Yes.
yes,
because I mean, really, if you do a capture rate on that, it's probably 2% that probably actually make the recipe that you're doing. So
yeah.
when
Yeah.
you hear about it, it's really rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And you get up, like I said, you're up at the checkout line at the local Piggly Wiggly. I'm dating myself there. But and somebody says, "Aren't you?" And you say, "Yeah." And they say, "Well, I did such and such that you did the other day on TV, and it worked good." Most of the time, they say it worked good. I don't have a fish story like you have there, Graham, but I never had anybody use sardines and powdered mushroom soup.
Mushroom. Yeah, that's
That
pretty.
that's kind of scary
Yeah.
about that. So I'm going to ask you now, because we're going to go to break here in just a minute. Uh, which country had the first Christmas trees as a tradition?
Norway.
Leanne,
Austria.
you're close. It's Germany.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Germany. Germany. And you were talking about like you were talking about New Zealand. Um this is a geographic question. Christmas Island is a external territory for uh which country? You should know.
Norway.
No?
I didn't get the first part of that. I'm sorry.
Christmas Island
Oh, okay.
is an external territory for which country? And you're familiar very much with this country in a way, Graham.
Yeah. Okay, New Zealand.
Close, Australia.
Okay.
Australia. Okay, we got to take another break. We're going to come back, and Graham's going to share a couple of Christmas cooking thoughts with you, as will Leanne and myself right after this. Welcome back to the nation. That's Barbecue Nation. I'm JT. We'd like to thank the folks at the Painted Hills Natural Beef, Beef the Way Nature Intended, and also the Oregon Dungeness Crab Commission. And Leanne has got it in her background there. Those are
I do. It's my little pig powder tree.
Yeah, I
It
like
doesn't
it.
look like a tree, but it's a tree of cases of pig powder with little pig powder ornaments on it. So if you order now and you use the code BBQ Nation Save, you will get 10% off, and you will get it before Christmas. So hurry,
about that?
hurry. Great
Yeah.
stocking stuffer.
And you have some spicy pig powder coming
I
out.
do. And the labels are complete. So that will be out, I would say, definitely in January.
Excellent. Excellent.
Sorry, not for the holidays.
I'll be looking for a box at my door.
I
like
will
that.
send you one.
Okay. You better send Graham one too.
I will do that too.
Oh, hi. I would
If
love
he
that.
sends me some New Zealand lamb.
I was watching you, Leanne, on that description of the press sale of the salt on the grass, and I was seeing you soak it up much as the grass.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked Graham yesterday actually to come up with 2 or 3 ideas, simple ideas for people for their Christmas dinner. And it doesn't matter whether it's dinner or appetizers or desserts, but I left that up to him. And so now I'm going to ask you, what did you come up with, Graham?
Okay, and the word was simple, and I took that as responsible. So for me, for a Brit born there, mincemeat. Do you know what I mean by mincemeat? You know, the fruit and a little of the kidney suet is added to that. And it's orange and lemon rind, and it's a marvelous combination. Do you know what I mean by mincemeat?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so there is online, and I went and bought it so that I would be able to show it to you. It's called Robertson's mincemeat. So if you're an Amazon shopper, as I am, I bought this the other day and it is delicious. And I got to tell you, the simplest way of doing it is one of those small mission round, about a 6-inch tortilla, and you spread a teaspoonful of this on that, and then roll it up, and it's like a cigar thing. and then you eat this. It's so simple to be able to, and it is marvelous. It is.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
It tastes wonderful. And it's the sort of thing that you could put a dish of them and pass them around either before or after the meal. It doesn't really matter. It's a sweet snack, which is quite interesting. Now, what I do is I take a tart, I make a tart base, an open base pie, and I blind bake that with some beans in it, to keep the shape of the crust, and then fill the bottom with mincemeat, and then flood the top with a custard, an egg custard, and then when that's gone cold, I put half strawberries over the whole top. Oh. And then when you cut that slice through, it's the red and the creamy whiteness, and then the dark mincemeat, and it just looks wonderful, and it eats terrific. It is such a nice thing, very Christmassy. The second thing that I would like to sort of have on the side, because it's so good, I've been making Jell-O pudding recently, the zero sugar, family-sized, carton, just 2 minutes to beat up and it's done. So I put in the other day pomegranate seeds and pistachios, very nice new pistachios, which were very green. And the red and the green were the pistachios and wow.
Oh, that sounds good.
And it's crunchy. It's got and with that background of that wonderful, that Jell-O product is a good product, and it's very useful.
It is.
Yeah, and what we then do, I get the frozen orange concentrate. The in the cans, you buy it in the can, and I keep that in the fridge, and I scrape. I put it into a mold so it's easier to get at. I scrape that with a spoon, so that I'm scraping up the iced orange, and I'm putting that on the top of the Jell-O. That when you've got that ice coldness, it's like a gelato over the top of that custard, and the texture of the pomegranates and the pistachios, it's something else. It looks wonderful.
And it's sugar-free.
Yes.
Wow.
And not only sugar, it's fat-free as well. It depends how you make the
good for you.
The custard. So then the other thing that I would love to get people to do is what I call a velvet sauce. And this, it takes root vegetables. Now, my favorite root vegetables, and this can be everybody's favorite. Sweet potato, I like the deep orange sweet potato. And I also like parsnips. They've got, and when you put the two together, they're kind of interesting. So what I do is I peel those and chop them up and then simmer them, usually in a little broth, a little chicken broth or turkey broth. Then I strain those off when they're really really tender, really well cooked, and put them into a blender with 1 pound of peeled weight. After you peel them, then weigh them. 1 pound to 1 can of evaporated skim milk. You pour those two in together, slap the top on the blender, and give it 4 minutes. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous.
A long time.
That is a long time for a blender. But something happens at some stage within that 4 minutes. And I don't know, maybe it could be done for 3 minutes, but I've tried it and it doesn't quite make it. So for me, it's a 4-minute done. And at 4 minutes, something happens to the cellulose in the plant and the meat and the milk protein in the milk that combines forces and turns out like a velvet sauce, like the best thing, the Alfredo sauce, that we have. That the mouth round fullness that fills the mouth with flavor. And this is just taking vegetables and making such a wonderful sauce, which is normally threatening. because it's so high in fat normally. This
Mhm.
hasn't got a scrap of fat in it, and yet it tastes as if it's full of it. So
Wow.
now I pour that over the vegetables that I'm going to have for Christmas. And they could be Brussels sprouts and whatever delicata squash, there's some of the things that I'm going to do. And
Sure.
pour this sauce over the top of that. And it just turns everything into it's a minor miracle, frankly. It's just
Wow.
yeah.
So is it, do you take half as much broth as the evaporated milk? Is it a 1-to-1 ratio or what is it?
No, the broth is simply to cook the vegetables and then strain the
Oh, okay.
else. Yeah. So it's 100% the skim milk is the only liquid,
Huh.
and the fully cooked vegetables. Yeah,
Gotcha. Wow, that
just
sounds delicious.
yeah, it's really worth
Wow.
giving it a go. I tell you
Yeah.
what, do you ever make omelets?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I made one the other night for dinner. I like omelets for
Okay.
dinner.
So try this velvet sauce just once and spoon it over the omelet. Um,
Oh.
so that it looks a little like an enchilada, and how
Yeah.
that served.
Yeah.
Serve this, and that's great too. And I loved getting about 7 servings of fruit and vegetables a day. That's what I tried to aim for and usually achieve. It's not as good as it could. I could get up to 9, but then I'm virtually a vegan if I do that, and I don't.
Oh no,
Right.
no, 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 no. Don't go there.
I understand.
Yeah.
um, I bet that's the first time that word's been used.
In a positive
In
manner
a
on this
positive
show.
way, yes.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but honestly, on an omelet, it's I call it a smothered omelet, and the omelet takes on it's just beautiful,
are
and it
you
looks wonderful.
are you putting any cheese or anything in your omelet, or is it just a plain omelet?
Do you know? I looked after my former wife after she had a stroke and a heart attack, and I did all the research possible. I looked after her for 28 years, and when it comes to saturated fat, I'm getting enough, just in the brush that I have with normal food.
Right.
And I've had to take cheese out of my diet. I have feta cheese, which is a fat-free feta, and that works quite well.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that's it. I have a brand new wife, and when we're almost on our first anniversary on the 15th of December, and I want her around as long as both of us can live. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. We're going to take another break here, come back and wrap up the regular show. And you won't want to miss after hours on this show because I've got some more great trivia. But we'll be back with Graham and Leanne right after this. Welcome back to the nation. That's Barbecue Nation. We thank you all for listening and inviting us into your lives today. I'm JT, along with Leanne Whippet and Graham Kerr, the Galloping Gourmet, or as I just like to call him, Graham Kerr. I was going to
You know
tell.
what? I was wondering, can you find your old shows like on a certain network, or like do they stream them?
YouTube has got you just put Galloping Gourmet in there, and I think there's about 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. I remember watching the show when I was younger.
Oh, they were
I
fun.
do.
They were
I do.
fun.
Uh-huh.
They were fun. And the best part of the show, besides learning what he was cooking and doing all that, is when he pulled somebody out of the audience
Yeah.
to eat with him at the end of the show.
Right.
That was because some of them were just like so enamored with Graham that they couldn't hardly sit still in the chair. And other ones were like, hey, nice to meet you, but this stuff looks good. So, they would go right after it. So I'm going to tell you what I'm because I got a show to do Friday. This is one of the things that I'm doing is I'm taking a very thin slice of prosciutto, and then some of that alute, I guess is the proper way. It's a garlic and herb spread, if you
Yeah.
will. Okay, very thin piece of that. The length of the prosciutto, and then I'm wrapping up a crab claw in it. Okay, and then I'm going to crisp it in the frying pan, just briefly on both sides, and then at the end, drizzle with a little bit of honey and some chopped filberts, and that's an appetizer that I created. So I don't know if it's going to be acceptable to people or not, but I tried it. It was pretty good. So how about that?
Well, with crab and prosciutto, how can you go wrong? I mean, it's I don't know anyone that would say no.
Well, I know the production crew at the TV station, they always seem to come around a lot, especially if I'm working with crab that day, but also with anything. I don't bring much home. I'll put it that way.
Mhm.
In the old days, Jeff, we had the big clunky cameras, and
Right.
my crew had mess tins, like the army mess tin, some rectangular aluminum thing, and with Velcro on the back of it and a Velcro pad on the side of the camera.
Oh my God.
And they would just rip it off and get. They were the first to be able to get it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Whenever I used to do stuff, there was a lady news lady. She's doesn't work in the news business anymore. She's a very lovely lady, really nice, but she loved mushrooms. And when I would do some sort of stuffed mushroom, she would the newsroom is clear on the other end of the building. Okay, it's 100 yards away from the studio, right? And Natalie would always know when I was doing that. And as soon as the show was over, she was right there. I don't know how she knew it, but she would knew that I was doing mushrooms because she loved them. And especially if I stuffed them with, seafood or something like that, she was always there. So those crews, they eat well, I
Oh
think.
yeah, yes.
They think they all eat well. Um, Being you're a newlywed, so to speak, how does the um how does your wife now does does she know who you were, or well, you still are, but I mean, did she have a full history of you before you two got together?
Well, she was saved from that. Her method of entertaining herself did not include me. She watched me 2 or 3 times, but that was all. She's she has a degree in fine art, and she's an extraordinary. Just sorry, somebody trying to get me. I just declined them. And she's an abstract artist, brilliant. And no, I didn't occur. But I can tell you one thing: I'm writing poetry nowadays, and she is doing the paintings. And we alternate. I write the poem first, and she then creates the abstract canvas. And sometimes the abstract canvas is first, and then the poem comes. And we are having the most amazing time creating
You
together.
should put all that into a book.
Yes, we're going to do just that. And in fact,
great.
I'm up to chapter 5 of it so far. Yeah.
Is that her work on the wall behind you?
Yes, that's one of hers.
The middle one.
The middle one, yeah.
Yeah. I could. Oh, I've got 3 or 4 in my office here.
And excellent.
She's really very talented. Wonderful. Yeah.
Well, good.
So who does the cooking?
I do.
You do.
I've cooked every meal but one in this whole year.
I think that's nice.
And she's a good cook, but she's a baker. She really bakes brilliantly. And
Oh,
so she made several cakes, and that's been wonderful. And
that's great.
we're almost the same age. I'm not allowed to mention publicly her age. I don't think
Sure.
any man should ever mention it. But you know, without being maudlin about this one, and I had not an easy first marriage, but I'm having the most amazing time of my whole life. I didn't
That's
know
awesome.
I didn't know what it was like to be loved, frankly,
Aw.
and so I've now found out. And
Good for you.
and,
But
and
we
I,
love you.
Yeah.
you're very
Yes.
kind.
It's a different kind of love. I got you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you, when you were doing the shows and creating your books and doing all that, did you prefer, I'll just call it two categories. Did you prefer the stovetop cooking or things where you actually baked? Because now you're married to a baker. And
Yes.
I'm not a big baking guy. But this isn't about me, but I'm not one that follows recipes precisely, you know. So I wanted to get your take on that.
Oh, I am an open pan guy that things get thrown in and the aroma comes bursting out, and I love to hear the sizzle and oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, shove it in the oven and it's gone. You know, it may smell okay, but you know, I'm not.
No, I
And
get it.
follow a recipe, forget it. I had to do that. In the development of a recipe, you must be careful to do it exactly. But on screen, I mean, I would mention always the volume that I was adding and the ingredient, and I would show every one of the special techniques that were running. I was very careful about doing that. But
Yes.
as for measuring things in a teaspoonful or that, forget it. It's count. Tip the bottle of wine into the dish and count to 8, you know. And it's
Yeah. How about you, Leanne? I mean, I've cooked with you a few times now, and I think you're more of a touch. You're visual and aromatic and all those. I don't picture
Yes,
you as
but
exactly.
I have gotten into baking a little bit more, and it
Yeah.
is precise, of course, but I find it rewarding after measuring everything, and you get some really, nice
Yeah.
things that come out of the oven.
Yeah,
But
no,
that's not my preference. Not my preference.
no, I get it. I get it. Well, we're out of time for this Christmas show with Graham, but we are going to do after hours. But Graham, thank you so much as always. It's such a delight to talk to you.
it makes my Christmas after Nancy.
Okay. Okay.
Up until now, it's been Jeff first, and now you've had to move in the second place.
I can accept that.
Thank you.
That doesn't place you any of us, but above everything, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank
All
you.
Well, we'll be back next week with one more show prior to Christmas. So we hope you're all getting ready. And one thing I did want to mention, we touched on it at the very first top of the show here. I hope you're getting ready for your family and your friends and the fun. But I also sincerely hope you don't forget why we celebrate Christmas. So I'm going to leave you with that. So for Graham and Leanne and myself from our Turn It, Don't Burn It studios, have a good weekend and enjoy the holidays. Take care. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Barbecue Nation After Hours. And we've got Graham Kerr, formerly known as the Galloping Gourmet. That's how I met him and all that. But now he's a newlywed. So I'm not sure what official title we need to give you now, but it's always good to see you. I told you before we came on the air that I had looked up some British trivia, Christmas trivia for you. And so there's a test, of course.
Oh dear.
And I'm going to start with something very easy for you and Leanne here. The tradition of sending Christmas cards began in multiple choice 1800, 1843, 1900, or 1919. Pick one.
1800. I don't see it happening then.
Okay.
I don't know. You go first, Graham.
I'm going to suggest 1843.
Bingo.
Yeah, there you go.
He's a winner.
Very good.
And hold on a second. Pardon me. Swallowed down the wrong pipe. And which British monarch?
You forgot to ask, when did the mailing of Christmas cards go away?
I don't know.
I mean, how many people send Christmas cards? When I get a Christmas card, I am just beside myself because it doesn't happen a lot.
Well, growing up, we got a wall full of them.
Yeah, I remember taping them up, and we'd put them all around like the archways in the house. And
yeah.
no, not anymore.
Now, if we get 10, I think it's a big deal. But confessional here, we send Christmas cards out about once every 2 or 3 years. We find time to do it. We don't take the time. We find the time. We should take the time.
What about you, Graham? How many cards have you gotten this year?
We've got 3 cards so far, and we've just tooled up to send about 100.
Oh, there you go.
Good.
I was just trying to find the thing on my phone so I could show you. It's the old Hallmark character, which was like a snowman with a hat on and a big smiley face, and it was back in the early 70s. And I got one of these. I'll tell you what.
You have it. You have it.
No, I'll actually get it down. It was on a shelf. Here it is.
Oh,
look at that.
Now, what I did is I made this little card thing, which says "Happy Birthday, Jesus" on it, and we photographed that and put it out with a little slogan which says, "Unto us a child was born," just that, and we're sending that out.
Excellent.
And it just seems it seems fun, and it's in its 49th year. I did that on the day on the first Christmas that I became a Christian. So
that's
there
awesome.
you go.
Very meaningful.
49 years. Yeah.
But still, to answer the question, which British monarch popularized the tradition of sending out Christmas cards?
Gosh, who would that have been? It couldn't have been. No, I give up.
Leanne?
Absolutely no idea.
Old Queen Victoria and her husband Albert.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, here's the fun one. In which James Bond film is there a character named Dr. Christmas Jones?
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, right. Goldfinger.
No.
These
Graham,
are hard.
Oh, no. I was called the James Bond of the kitchen, so I duck out at this point.
Okay. It was The World Is Not Enough in 1999. Okay. Okay, here's a couple older ones. We talked about this in the show a bit, Graham. Which British ruler allegedly banned mince pies. And I'll give you a hint. It was before 2000.
Before 2000. Um,
That's hard too.
yeah.
I'll give you a hint. A Man for All Seasons.
Still hard.
Um,
Well, you're gonna have to tell us.
no, tell us. Go on. Go on.
Oliver Cromwell in the 1600s.
And you're calling him a monarch?
I said ruler.
Oh,
British ruler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Here's an easy one for you. What is the name given to small sausages wrapped in bacon?
Devils on horseback.
Well, you may have called them that, but
Angels on horseback.
no.
No.
This one doesn't make sense to me because it's not really what the correct answer is, but we'll roll with it anyway. Leanne?
Pigs in a blanket?
Yes, pigs in a blanket.
Yeah.
But see, I always thought pigs in a blanket they could be sausages, but they had to have some sort of breading around them, like a roll or something.
No. The bacon is the thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And by the way, angels on horseback are oysters wrapped in bacon.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Devils on horseback are plums or prunes wrapped in bacon.
What is Yule? You always hear Yuletide greetings. What is the definition of Yule?
A log.
No. Well, that's part of it, but that's not the definition. Leanne knows this one.
I don't. Happy?
No. The Yule is a festival celebrated by pagans in Germanic countries between November and January. That's the definition of Yule.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, here's another one along those lines. Which ancient civilization started the tradition of giving and receiving gifts?
One would imagine it would have to be the United States.
No, a little before then. You find this hard to believe, and Leanne, you should know this because you should know this.
The Egyptians?
Close. The Romans.
Oh. Why would I know that?
You're Catholic.
Oh.
Okay. On what date is the 12th night? 12 days of Christmas, all that stuff.
You mean the drummer boys?
No. Actual date of the 12th night.
Oh. The 24th?
No, a little later than that.
Going to be the 14th or 15th.
It's January 5th.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Never know that.
Okay. What who of Mariah Carey, Shane McGowan, Shakin' Stevens, and Jonah Louie were born on Christmas Day? I don't even know who half those people are. So I know who Mariah Carey is, and I do know who Shane McGowan is, but Shakin' Stevens.
Mariah Carey was probably born on Christmas.
Well, she's got the most.
I could see her doing that.
She's got the most obnoxious, overplayed Christmas song in the world. So, all I want is for Christmas is you. That one.
Graham, do you know who it is? Is it all the above? Is he still there?
Yeah, he's there.
Okay, he's thinking.
I see his eyes blinking. So
I don't even remember the other names.
Mariah Carey, Shane McGowan, Shakin' Stevens, and Jonah Louie. Which one of those was born on Christmas Day?
I don't know any of them.
Yeah, that's right. That was tough.
Shane McGowan. I will tell you this. We were on a tour bus. We went to a luau when we were in Hawaii a couple weeks ago. Went and having a great time and all that. Went on the tour bus, and we had a young Samoan guy who was very funny, lovely kid, and tried to practice his stand-up comedy as we were driving to the luau, right? Because it was about a 25-minute drive. And as we're coming back, he starts playing some music. Most everybody on the bus was 55 and older. I'll put it in that. And he said, he's playing this music and the bus is just dead silent. And you guys, don't you guys like my music? And I said, don't you have any Bob Seger? And the people on the bus went, yeah, get some Bob Seger. And so he goes, Siri, find me some Danny Bob Seger. I said, it's not Danny Bob Seger, it's Bob Seger. And he had never heard of him.
Oh boy.
And so he pulls up a song. I don't remember which one it was, Night Moves or something like that. And everybody on the bus, including my daughter and her boyfriend, because she grew up when I was little, I was doing rock stuff. And everybody sang the lyrics except this poor kid on the tour guide. You know, he had no idea who Bob Seger was, so anyway, and it was kind of ironic that he did that, and he said something about Taylor Swift. And most of us on the bus said we cannot name one Taylor Swift song. I have no idea. So that's the gap in the music and that
sure.
little trivia question there for you. Anyway, Graham, I want you to have a lovely Christmas with
Thank you.
Yes.
As always, it is just such a delight to talk to you and for you to share your stories and the recipe ideas and all that. I think it's just great.
And happy anniversary and happy New Year.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We will. I promise.
Yeah. Oh, good. All right. And Leanne, I'll see you shortly. And for everybody listening out there, get your Christmas stuff going. And if you're just now thinking about it, you're probably behind the 8-ball. So you might want to think about it a little bit. And if you're trying to find a New Zealand lamb, get a hold of Graham. He's got good connections. Okay.
Oh, that was
Anyway, that's it for After Hours. We thank Graham, and as always, I think and couldn't do it without her anymore, without Leanne. And for everybody listening, we appreciate you letting us spend time with you. And we'll be back next week with another edition of Barbecue Nation and After Hours. Until then, be kind and remember, turn it, don't burn it. Take care, everybody.